This Chinese carbon frame may just be one of the best bike products I've ever purchased when you take into account the price and the build quality. But it kind of has to be when competing with brands like Specialized, Trek, Cannondale, Canyon, Santa Cruz, just to name a few. Meet Gordon. He is a cyclist that wants to ride a top of the line bike but doesn't have £12,000 plus some change to buy one. Okay, that's unrealistic. Let's half that and get something that's still pretty damn amazing for £6,000. But what if I told Gordon there is another way? A way he could buy the frame and build his dream bike from the ground up. All he has to do is buy his bike frame from China and it will cost him 1/3 of the price of a Western brand. I'm not sure about that, mate. A few weeks ago, I started a poll to see how many other people are not sure about Chinese carbon frames. I'm not sure about that, mate. We'll see how many people in that poll have the same uncertainty as Gordon at the end of this video. We will also see if I can satisfy Gordon by the end of the video because, for valid reasons, we have this doubt at the back of our minds about buying directly from China. Now for me, there are 3 factors that people consider when they are buying a Chinese carbon bike frame. How much does it cost? How good is the quality? And how long will it last? Let's start with the cost. Chinese carbon frames are much cheaper than frames from Western brands. You can buy them from a few £100 to around £1,000 or a little bit more. Similar frames from a Western brand will cost you between £3,000 to £5,000, depending on if you want it to sparkle or not. Now this doesn't always work out in favour of the cheap Chinese carbon frame, and here is why. As consumers, we associate cost with quality. The more expensive something is, the better quality we think the product will be. So something that is expensive is deemed good quality. So when you have a carbon bike frame that is actually really cheap, it's easy to automatically assume that it's poor quality. Now don't get me wrong, in some cases that may be true. This is Mr. Carbon, mine and Gordon's long lost brother. Now while I'm explaining to you how to buy a Chinese carbon frame that won't snap, he is going to be researching reputable carbon fibre frame manufacturers from China, which we will share with you at the end of the video. This cost discrepancy with Western brands puts a doubt in our minds, and that grows like a seed. And with something like a bike frame that will likely take a battering, it's not something that we are willing to risk. People are fearful, and that's why you have hundreds of videos online, including mine, testing the quality and building bikes from these Chinese carbon frame manufacturers. Quality, now this is where the biggest issue comes in, and it's hard to know until you literally strip a frame back and look at its carbon layup to see if it's good quality. How strong is your carbon layup? That is true for all frame manufacturers, no matter what country they are from. What many people don't actually know is that most big Western brands make their frames in factories in China, or should I say Asia. What happens when you buy through one of these companies is you have the middleman, aka the brand or the company, which gives you, the consumer, a layer of security. This is why when buying a Chinese carbon frame, you should look to buy it from a reputable company that is already established in China or Asia. That way they can give you that similar layer of security. Now if you buy a £200 carbon mountain bike frame from AliExpress from an unknown seller, to be honest, it's probably not going to work out well for you. Also, use other people's experiences and learn from them. There are loads of videos and forums online where people have bought Chinese carbon frames and built them up into high quality bikes to compete with Western brands. Just like this video, for example. I mean, I get 80% of my knowledge from YouTube comments these days. If we assume that this cost versus quality chart relates to Chinese carbon frames only, I would say that the lower part of this chart, anything below £300, is going to be a little bit questionable.
Oh, hell no.
That is a crazy cheap price for a good carbon fibre frame production and build, in my opinion. Sometimes you really do get what you pay for. So let's call this the no-go area. Between 300 and 600, you are still swimming in deep water, but you can see the shore. These carbon frames could be good, but you should do your research carefully and know what you are getting into. Let's call this the middle ground. Now anything above 600 and it's starting to look good. We'll have to call this the high chance of success section.
Oh, that's hot.
Remember, we are not trying to find the perfect frame. We are trying to improve our chances of getting one that's good quality. My carbon frame surprised me because this is a completely custom paint job. It's even got my name on it. I've always wanted to tell you that you're really cool. I've also saved around 60% of my money. It may have taken 4 weeks to arrive, but these reputable brands never seem to run out of stock, so availability is high. How's that research coming along, Mr. Carbon? Now, I wish I could tell you that these frames are going to be durable and last forever, but unless I can find the DeLorean from Back to the Future to look into the future, that's not going to happen. The reality is, when you buy a product like this, you do the best you can to get the best product you can, then that will hopefully stand the test of time. What you can do though is put your nerdy research hat on and look at the type of carbon fiber that is used in frame production. In my case, it's constructed out of Toray T800 and T1000. A quick Google and you can do your best to see if that type of carbon is used commonly in bike manufacturing. I'm no carbon expert, I'm just a guy who wants a strong carbon frame. How strong are you then, mate? Eh? How strong are you? Here are 5 ways to find the best carbon frame. Now, if you are thinking about buying a Chinese carbon frame, number 1, price. We know our budget is between 700 and 1,000, so that's a good start. Dip a touch lower if you like, but this seems to be the going rate. Replicas. We also don't want to buy a replica, as to me, this shows a willingness to reduce cost on research and development and just reproduce a frame that other people have worked hard to produce. Warranty. Normally, reputable manufacturers will provide a warranty for the bike, so make sure you get at least 2 years. You will need a frame number or a unique reference number for your frame, so make sure you have that on arrival. It should be on the frame ideally, but that's not always the case. Go direct with a reputable company and buy the frame through their website. There are 2 reasons for this. A, you can contact them beforehand, ask all your questions and see if you get a friendly vibe from them. After all, people buy from people.
Oh, friend!
Remember, these are brands that have a reputation to uphold. Research. Now this is your golden ticket. There is so much information out there online, people doing the hard work for you and experimenting. Gather that data, consume it into your brain until you are a carbon frame Gandalf. Now, at the start of the video, I mentioned the poll. I haven't forgotten, and as I speak right now, 33% of you fine people are uncertain about buying Chinese carbon frames. Let's check in with Mr. Carbon. Yoleo, which was established in 2011, their prices for carbon bike frames are around £1,000. Windspace, which was established in 2012, their frames again are around £1,000. We have Elves, which is where I purchased this frame from. They were established in 2006, and again, this frame is around £1,000. iCan, I'm sure you can, was established in 2009, and their frames are a bit lower, around £700. But now you, Gordon, and the people in my poll have all the info you need to get the very best frame. But you still need to be able to build the bike, buy the other components, which is why you should watch my bike build series, starting with this video next, to arm yourself with all the knowledge you need to bring your dream bike to life. What do you reckon, Gordon?
You know what? You make a good point.